Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to yet another Clown-versation. This week, guess what? I'm with the amazing, talented, very, very popular, and slightly jet-lagged Hilary Chaplain.
Coffee.
And her coffee cup.
Hello.
Hi, Hilary. How's it going? How are you?
Oh, I'm just great. Thank you. Just back from Italy and Paris, Turin and Paris, where I was teaching. So yeah, I'm a little jet lagged, but I had a great time and I'm just so lucky I could go during this crazy time.
Yeah, amazing. Was it a bit stressful with the travel sort of restrictions, testing?
It was. Well, I mean, it didn't have to be, but I didn't fill out one of the forms before I got to the airport. And neither did my traveling companion. And so we stood there for about an hour trying to fill out the stuff on our phones that kept going wrong. So yes, it was stressful. In Italy, everybody was tested and everybody was good. Nobody was compromised. So we worked masks off.
Right.
And then in Paris, we worked masks on. And we used these funny ones with a clear mouth, which are kind of scary and creepy looking. But in fact, for purposes of the classroom, it was much better.
Yeah, because you can see the mouth, and that's that whole part of the face.
Yeah.
And the expressiveness there. Well, that's really interesting. So was this your first workshop since COVID?
No, I actually taught in Portugal in June as well at the Bolina Clown Festival, which is a women's clown festival it was in a little town called Castelo de Vide, and it was in collaboration with Temgrasa, which is another women's clown festival. They usually do every other year, and this year they collaborated because they'd had to skip.
That's really cool. And a little bit later on, we really want to talk about women and clowning, right? I think that's an important topic I'd like to cover. But so thank you so much for, doing this so soon after your landing. Really, really, really appreciate it. And if you don't quite finish a sentence, I'll just finish it for you.
Finish for me. Great. Perfect. I'm getting to the age where when I'm with my sister, between the two of us, we can complete a
sentence?
Full sentence. Yeah. Because where's that word? I know that word. I've used that word all my life. But
yeah, so that just happens in normal life, and now it's added sort of extra because of the jet lag.
Yeah.
So hello everybody who's watching this live and people who are watching the replay later on, because I know a lot of people do that. So however you're watching it, thank you for tuning in and welcome. And we do this every single week. I talk to some amazing clown or other from some part of the world, and it's an amazing privilege, and I'm learning a huge amount, as I'm sure you all are as well. And what's really wonderful is having all you guys there sort of chipping in with your questions and comments and experiences. So why don't you I see a few comments already, so go ahead and say hi in the comments, and maybe let us know where you are, what sort of experience of clowning you have. Let us know what you're involved in at the moment. So I see Deborah Catfish Jackson has already said hi from Illinois. Hi, Deborah. Catfish, I should say. Clown One Italia Onlus. I don't know which part of that is your name, but you are very welcome today. And another interesting name here, Pimp Souls, aka Dad Son Thing. That's incredible. Congratulations on having such a cool name. Right. I know it's not really your name. It's probably just your YouTube. Oh, hang on. I've got to turn that down. Oh, hi from Brooklyn, Emma. Do you know Emma, Hilary?
I don't. Emma Zurer. I'm not sure if I do, but we're in the same
city.
Part of Manhattan, of New York, the same borough. Emma, do I know you? I'm not so good with last names, and I'm much better with faces than names.
Send us your face, Emma. Send us a picture. Clown One Italia Onlus says that their name is Ginevra. Ginevra. Was that a student in your class?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember a Ginevra. unless they used yet
Maybe
another
it's just a jet lag, or
No.
maybe you've just got lots of fans in Italy.
Well, I hope I do now. I had such a good time with the Italians. I really, it was so full of joy. I mean, all three workshops since COVID have just been so joyous. People are just so happy to be back in the room
Oh
together.
my goodness, I can imagine there's an energy, right? Because people are so desperate to be together. And,
Yeah, we laughed and laughed, so it was great.
Lovely.
Michelle,
Dale,
yeah.
sorry? Dale says,
Michelle,
replay, awesome source. I have to go to work. Longtime clown, currently in Arizona. Professor. I like that spelling of professor. I'm a professor.
Professor.
Grading like crazy for the end of the semester. Go Dale.
Hello.
Thank you for the smiles, good vibes, and yawns. I empathize. Okay.
Uh-oh, now I'm getting you. And Kelly Nesbitt from the bar. Kelly, hi Kelly. She's not here, but her friend is. Okay.
Yes.
Colombia.
And
You must know this
Carlos.
Colombian.
Yeah, I know Carlos. Of course I do.
Do I know Carlos?
Hi. Probably.
Probably.
You probably know a Carlos.
I know a handful.
Because you spent quite a bit of time in Colombia over the years.
I've been a couple times. Yeah. Yeah, because of you. No, I was going to say because of you. No, you were there.
I think it was because of me.
Oh, yeah, because of you.
Yeah, because of the Clown Encuentro.
Yes.
And then you came to Cali for I think Ilana invited you for the.
That's right, for the Hospital Clown Conference. So yes, I've been 3 times to Colombia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the most memorable one for me was when you lost your luggage on the way to Bogota, and you were slated to perform I think it was the actress.
That's piece. Right. Yep.
And you didn't have your stuff.
Didn't have my stuff. And fortunately, I had brought some masks in my carry-on, and we pulled together a costume and a couple of props, and I did a piece that was sort of still in the making about a guy who goes to eat his lunch, and somebody has eaten everything in his lunchbox, and so he has his net, and he nets a fish, and he catches a fish and ends up throwing it back into the audience because he just can't eat it. And actually, an interesting thing about that piece is I worked on it up at the Celebration Barn Theater, and I had Davis Robinson work with me for a little while on this piece. Davis is a brilliant teacher and director and performer, and he wrote a book called The Physical Comedy Handbook, which I recommend to everybody. And Davis said, why don't you just make it more simple? Why don't you just come out to eat your lunch and it's all gone? And so I took out the catching of the fish, the net and the fish and all that. And this poor guy just goes to eat his lunch and there's nothing there. And it's so simple. I love doing it. And it's one of those pieces where, as a teacher or as an audience member, I watch clowns work, and sometimes they get so complicated with so many ideas that you lose who they are. And I'm afraid myself to be that simple. And Davis made the suggestion, and he was absolutely right. The simpler it was, the more profound and funny it was, which is the same with my solo show, A Life in Her Day. I worked with Avner on that back in 2005, and it was very complicated when I brought it to him. It was not linear. It had just a lot more elements in it that kind of complicated it. And the version before he saw it was even more complicated. And Avner said, just as an exercise, why don't you just put it all in a linear order, just have one baby, not 3, and just to see, the way Avner will, he'll say, just as an exercise, just to see what happens. And by golly, he was right. And now
and that was what stuck.
That's what stuck. And it is such a simple story, that this woman wakes up in her bed in the morning and she finds this, she eats her Lucky Charms, and in the box she finds a ring that looks like an engagement ring, and it takes off from there. She decides, oh, well, I've got a ring. I should find somebody to put it on me.
And that's
Or
the whole
actually,
show,
she just
basically,
goes out
isn't
to
it?
show it off. Pardon?
Yeah, that's the whole show. I mean, that setup gives you the whole show.
Gives me the whole show. And at the end of the show, I realized that it's all a bit too much. The baby's crying. There's just, it's more than I can handle. So I put it to bed. I almost destroy it. I put it to bed. I get back in bed and it's just me and my dog again. And we go to sleep, and who knows what'll happen the next day. So it's very simple, and it works so much better.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous show. I feel like I've seen it twice, I think, and it was lovely both times. And I just adore the classically trained actress piece as well. I was just watching the video of it again the other day, and I think the video is actually of your performance in the Clown Encuentro.
Yes, it is, because you and Jaime are there.
Yeah, Jaime and the devil and me as the angel fairy thing.
Yeah,
come out with the tape and the glue at various points.
Yeah,
and it's just such a great piece. And it's the same thing. It's the simplicity of it. You know, there's nothing except, you know, you're there to speak this Shakespeare monologue, and things just keep going wrong. And just from that heel, you know, the heel of your shoe coming off, everything kind of just snowballs,
cascades. Yeah,
from that. And just the tape, you know, the tape getting stuck. I just love all that stuff.
Right. You know, a lot of those bits came out of just playing with those props, and some of them it happened in performance. I was at the Moisture Festival, and I threw the tape. After I was finally finished with the tape, I threw the roll, and it stuck to my finger, so it went and opened up. And I said, oh my God, that's brilliant. And I keep that in, and the little piece that gets stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, it was so good.
That happened on stage. I said, oh, well, it happens every time. Now I make sure it happens every time.
Yeah.
And you know, something about that piece is I learned a lot too from Avner and from David Shiner in that piece. And that was, don't hurry. And Avner talked about this last week. Don't hurry through the problems. I don't have to, I have a problem. I can solve it. And it works so much better than the urgency to get it done and to hide it in front of the audience. It's just, I have this problem. I'm going to take care of it. I keep making the problem worse until it's finally settled.
But I do like that in that piece, you keep this character of the actress. So it's not the clown. It's not this kind of clown that's like, ooh, there's this interesting problem. Oh, there's another problem. It's like,
no, it's me.
I've got to keep this facade, and it's just lovely because you keep on kind of looking to the audience as if you're still the
I am the
actress.
Yeah,
even when you've got this little bit of tape, you know, on your teeth.
Yeah, trying to maintain my dignity in the face of adversity.
Yes.
Because that is very much who Hilary Chaplain is, or probably was, more than when I finally embraced being a clown.
So that's an autobiographical piece, is it?
In a sense. I mean, I think we all want to maintain our dignity. And I think the fun of the clown is that we keep losing our dignity and trying to regain it. I mean, I never wanted to be a clown because I didn't actually, frankly, I didn't see the dignity in being a clown.
Well, this leads me perfectly into the question that I wanted to ask you, Hilary, which is and I ask everyone this, what was your way into clowning? How did you discover yourself in that sense?
Well, like I was saying, I really didn't want to be a clown. Starting from probably the age of 10, I wanted to be an actress. And I had my mind set on it. I did plays outside of school. In fifth grade, I did a play outside of school. I was the Little Mermaid in the Three Little, production of The Three Little Mermaids, which was the story of the Little Mermaid from Denmark. And it was rewritten as The Three, and it was prose. It was experimental avant-garde theater. It was, we a lot of movement. We were rocks. We were the waves. And that started me on my path to movement theater and theater. And this is what I'm going to do. And through high school, I worked in high school and outside of high school doing theater, in college again. And then at one point I took a mime class in the summer with Trent Arterbury during college. And he said, you're good. And, you're good with this physical stuff. The mime comes to you. You should go study with Tony Montanaro. So I picked up the phone and I called the barn. I called Tony and I got into a workshop with Benny Reel. And because Tony's was full, and then I started, and that was wonderful. I had a long relationship with Benny and then started working with Tony as well and took a lot of workshops with him. And let me see, where am I going? Jet lag.
That wasn't clown. What were you studying? Was it more physical theater with Benny?
It was physical theater and mime, but mime in a very open sense of the word. We could use music, we could use words, storytelling, anything.
Yeah.
In his language, mime is physical eloquence. It's showing the world through physicality with eloquence. Yeah. And so anything is included. And then I met Michael Zerfy, who was a clown, and we started working together. But I really didn't want to be a clown. I wanted to be an actress. But I worked as a clown with him and with Davis Robinson's wife, Libby Marcus. She did a show that the Royal Paste and Paper Circus. I was in that as a clown, but I really wanted to be an actress. So I finally moved to New York to be an actress, and I got a job immediately working for the Big Apple Circus Clown Care Unit as a hospital clown. And we figured I'd last about 6 months because I came to New York to be an actress. And years went by and I kept getting work as a clown and some work as an actor. And I worked with Bill Irwin on his show, Largely New York. And
wow, that was an amazing experience.
That was. Bill is just a dream to work with. He's one of the most kindest, generous people I've ever met. And working with him, he was open to everyone's ideas, and just it was a wonderful rehearsal room to be in. He was experimenting and we were playing with him. Yeah. So I kept working as a clown, but I started working on a solo show that was, I saw myself more as a Tracy Ullman or a Whoopi Goldberg, who, characters. So I wanted to create these characters and do a show. And the person I was working with as kind of a guide was saying, well, why don't you write about what you know? And so reluctantly, I started writing stories about doing birthday parties, Birthday Party from Hell, the party entertainment agent who, the commercial agent who only sends me out for things like hanging from my teeth and spinning, which I didn't do. I don't do. And I said, no, I don't do that. And I started, let's see. So I was writing this show about being a clown. No, it turned out, instead of being these characters, it turned out to be a story about a woman who moves to New York to be an actress and ends up being a clown and finally accepts herself as a clown. I finally got it. I finally understood the art of the clown and the dignity of the clown. The dignity in the clown is losing your dignity and regaining it. I also, I'd seen people like Avner and Bill and David Shiner and Bob Berkey, and I thought, well, I love what they do, but that's not me. And I'm also absolutely not a circus clown. I had my cute little clown as a party clown and learned a hell of a lot by doing that, parties and events. And I was a hospital clown and I loved that work. But I thought, but I want to be an actress. So when I finally completed this show that turned out to be about a clown, a woman who accepts herself as a clown, people said, well, the work's great, Hilary, but why don't you just do a clown show? And I kept saying, I don't want to do a clown show. But finally I said, oh, what the hell? Okay, I'll do a clown show. And I threw away most of that show And I went to this winter workshop with Avner, and I started developing little bits that started building into this other show that is A Life in Her Day. That took about 3 years to develop that show. But I also, the Shakespeare piece, that piece was, I was using that monologue in New York at these classes where you would meet an agent, like 20 people would meet an agent or a casting director, and you'd show a piece, and they'd give you a little feedback or not, and maybe they would give you some work at some point, and you paid money for this. Well, I thought, I've really got to do something that makes me stand out. And I had started to do a piece with a friend where I was the assistant. He was a very dry lecturer in the concertina, and I was turning his pages and doing things for him, and things kept going wrong. And so I decided to put those accidents in the Shakespeare piece. So I would do the monologue seriously, but I would keep having problems. And I finally realized that that's who I was as a clown. I wasn't Bill Irwin. I wasn't Bob Berkey. I wasn't Marty Hooter, who I'd seen and loved. I was me. I was a woman who wanted to be taken seriously as an actress, but everything's going wrong. And I said, aha, I am a clown. I'm me as a clown. And people always say you really have to know who you are.
Yeah.
As an actor, as a clown. I thought, well, of course I know who I am. I was born me. I've grown up with me.
That's a beautiful story. I just love that so much. And is that, and so do you feel like you're completely over that desire, or is it still like a niggling thing for you? Like, still want to be an actress, or are you like?
No, I still, well, let's put it this way. I am an actress, because I think to be a clown, to be a really good clown, you have to be an actor. I don't think you have to be a clown to be an actor, but you have to be an actor to be a clown. And my newest show is about a woman who was a cabaret comedian during the Weimar years in Berlin. And she's Jewish. And she gets taken off to Theresienstadt, where in Czechoslovakia, where they took a lot of the artists. And in that camp, were all kinds of artistic activities going on, intellectual activities. As soon as people got there, they started giving lectures. They started doing performances, everything from puppet shows to operas. And so she's a fictional character based on truth, historical truth. So she goes to the camp. She works as a cook, but she continues to perform in the cabaret until something happens to her until she finally can't deal with it anymore, and she loses her will to survive. And when she's in the kitchen, a rat comes in looking for food, and he finds her, and he recognizes her from the cabaret. In fact, when all of the rats left because there was no food, he stayed because of her. And he said, you have to sing for us to go on. She's like, no, I can't, not anymore. And through the show, he convinces her to go back on stage. And I have 2 puppeteers and a beautiful little rat. We're backwards here. A little rat puppet about 12 inches long, high, and we do projections. And so in that show, I'm an actor. But really, it's my clown. I think it's my clown background that really helped me to find that character. And she was a cabaret comedienne. And I feel like that's who I might have been had I been alive at that time.
Annette asks if there's any way to see that piece online.
Not the whole thing. Right now, if you go to my website, you can see an old 6-minute clip of it. We did a new video just before COVID, about 2 years ago, but the video's not great. I'm going to make a 1-minute teaser, or what are they called? So 1 minute,
like a promo or something.
Yeah, promo, and a 5-minute out of the newer footage. But no, you can't see it.
So we'll have to wait till you do it again. We'll come and see it.
If
it sounds amazing. I'd love to see that show.
Oh, I think it's a really beautiful show, and
Yeah.
I wrote it really in collaboration with two puppeteers and a director, and then a third puppeteer came on.
It seems like a lot of your work, Hilary, is concerned in a way with gender or the being female. About, for you, this is an important issue, that the fact of being a woman clown and exploring that identity and relationship to. And it was interesting to me that nearly all of the teachers and directors that you mentioned earlier are male, and so there was this kind of moment of discovering not only yourself as the clown, but also what does it mean to be a woman clown. I'm guessing. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
You know, I think what it means to be a woman clown. When I was teaching in Paris last week, somebody said, "Well, but I mean, clowns really don't have gender." I'm like, "Of course they have gender. To me, they have gender, because if I'm on stage, if I'm right here in front of you now, you see gender. How can I not have gender, whether I'm male, female, gender fluid, or whatever other? I can't deny what you're seeing. So I have to embrace what you're seeing and use that. And so, and a woman, you know, I think we went for a long time where women were prostitutes or nerds. Let me see, what do we have? Washerwomen.
Actresses. But that was...
Yeah.
Well, it was teachers. Teachers was that teachers and nurses, wasn't it?
Teachers, nurses,
two professions.
The professions, right? But in the clown, we see a lot of, you know, kind of those, you know. I have another, and I can't remember what it is right now. That's where I need my sister with my other words. Right. Anyway, nerds, prostitutes, washerwomen, you know, just, there are a handful of things that everybody gravitated towards because they're kind of the cliche. They're the image of they're an old image of how we see women.
Yeah.
And women, you can be a police person, you can be a pilot. I mean, you know, you can be anything and everyone. And what I love seeing happening right now in the female clown world is that people are embracing that. People are working to figure out what appeals to them, or what drives them, what moves them, and where that takes them. And it's not as limited. We saw a lot of brides too. We see a lot of brides, and of course, you know, one person, I won't name who, said to me, I will never invite another female show where they are a bride again to my festival. I thought, well,
because there were so many.
Pardon?
Because there were so many. The implication being there are too many.
There are too many. Now, I say that's a little unfair, because, and I mean, in my show, I do become a bride, but it's not about a woman desperate for a man. And, you know, I think that's what he was saying. He doesn't want to see more women desperate for a man. And I think, in a sense, I agree in that we can go further than that. We can go beyond that. Although, okay, my jet lag is kicking in. I think all human beings are desperate for love, whether it be whether it be a relationship with a sexual relationship, or just love of our parents or of our children, our friends. We're all seeking love. And for women, it's going to come often in that form of a woman, you know, who's looking for a man to marry. It just has to stay out of the general and out of the cliche.
And I guess we have to find something. We have to be able to find something different to say about that topic somehow. That's different from what's being said in the mainstream. Yeah. But it's so interesting. So Michelle says, I'm so lucky I got to see it.
Michelle. Yeah, she happened to be in New York when I was doing it. That was
So
great.
you guys at watching, if you have any questions for Hilary, this is a very good moment to type them in, because we're about halfway through, and Hilary's at some point her jet lag is gonna make her completely inarticulate. So get them in quick while she's still got her brain.
Something that we were talking about before, Barnaby, and that is in Massachusetts, actually, right? That's right. That and it has to do with what we were just talking about, and what I was saying about the men clowns that I saw. I kept thinking, that's not what I am. And you can really see the difference in a performer when they're performing their idea of what they think a clown is, and when they've discovered something about themselves that is the clown. You know, we all have things that we love and hate and scare us and excite us. And when we start exploring and discovering what those things are, it then starts to become very personal. And we're all so different. I mean, Barnaby's clown show that I saw years ago is this strange and wonderful and bizarre and so different from what I do, which is so different from what Avner does. I mean, we're all so different. And I think it's really important to walk on stage without an idea of who you are as a clown, or at least when you're workshopping. One of my favorite exercises to begin my class with is when I say walk, you jump. When I say jump, you walk. And it really messes with your head, because you're just not getting it right. And there's a lot of laughter. And then when I say walk and stop, and then jump and your name. So we're doing the opposite all the time, and it really messes with your head. And the great thing about this exercise is you're trying to do it right. You're just trying to get it right. And you keep making mistakes because it's really hard. But your effort to get it right, and then the failure from that, and then you're gathering yourself up again to succeed again. It's all those things. It's about who you are in this situation that makes us laugh. And you don't come out to make a mistake. And
I mean, this is something that Avner was reminding us last week, which was so good, is that, you come out with the objective to do some very simple thing, like sweep the stage, whatever it is. And if nothing goes wrong, then you go home early that night.
Right. Right. So the actor sets up the clown to do something that's difficult or impossible or beautiful. It doesn't have to be a mistake either. You can come out to create something beautiful. And sometimes when the idiot clown comes out to do something beautiful, you find both beauty and humor in it. But you can't come out to be funny. The actor knows it's going to be funny if the clown behaves themselves, and comes out to solve the problem.
And are you worried at all if there's no laughter? Like, does that worry you? Is that an objective for you?
I have actually, once again, I don't know if Avner was talking about me. I don't think so, but there was a point where I was doing A Life in Her Day. It was early on, and the audience just wasn't laughing. And I wasn't getting the laughs where I knew I usually got them. And there's one point in the show where it's like, man, if I'm not getting laughs before, I'm going to get it then. And I wasn't even getting that same kind of laugh. And I was leaning into it, pushing harder, like working really hard. And Avner said, no, you got to do the opposite. Said, sit back in it, do it for yourself. Let them come along. And when I teach, I really use that principle, because if I'm asking the audience to appreciate me, and I'm telling them to applaud for me, they're going to be resistant to it. But if I find my own pleasure in it, they're going to love that. And I
There's
see
something for people who've never done this, there's something really amazing about doing your own full-length solo show. I mean, it's unlike anything else you'll ever experience in life, right? There's that feeling of just being on stage on your own with the whole audience there.
Yeah.
Is a kind of like a trippy experience. And when it goes well, it's just a most amazing trip, isn't it? It's just like it's like surfing, and just like you pick every, you get on every wave, and it's just like, and you catch the next wave, and everything's just flowing. And then when it doesn't go well, when something kind of gets in the way of that, and you start, as you just suggested, kind of like pushing and struggling, it can be awful.
Awful.
You come off feeling miserable, like you never ever want to do it again. And I had a few of those. Sure.
I had a couple of those. But the once you accept that every audience is different, it's not about you. Yeah. It's just not. There's something in the room that's different. And when you can just breathe through that and just stay focused in the moment on what you're doing, because you've done it before and you know it works, stay present in that moment. They're probably going with you just as much as when you get big laughter. Yeah. But it's not a feeling.
I just want to come back to this conversation about exercises, because I'm always like really fascinated about what are those key exercises, and they're often very simple ones. And you mentioned this, the running, what was it? Running, stopping, walking, running, and doing the opposite, and how that puts you in the shit and makes you fail, and then you have to deal with that. And I'm wondering, are there any other sort of really elemental exercises that you always do that you love?
Yeah, there's an exercise. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Gerda Hütter. She's a Swiss clown. Yeah. And in fact, this exercise is in Davis's book. It's called Hooter's Points, spelled incorrectly, Hooter, and she's Hutter. And we were both in a workshop with her in Philadelphia at the Clown and Mime Festival in, I think it was 87. And she did this exercise that I then did with her again years later in Andorra. And it's very, very simple, where two people are standing. When you open your eyes, you look at the audience, and then you look at your partner, and one of you will be in major and the other in minor. The minor simply watches the major, tries to watch their eyes the whole time. The major looks at the minor, looks to the audience, thinks about how they feel about this person they've just looked at, decides where they want to go in the room. Do they want to get closer? Do they want to go further? Do they want to go front, back? You can take one step. You look at where you want to go. You look back at the audience, and you go to that spot. Then you turn and you look at your partner. The partner then looks at the audience, thinks about how they feel right now in this moment. Where do they want to go? And they're thinking while they're looking at the audience. Then they look at the place they want to go. They look at the audience. They move there while they're looking at the audience, and they look at their partner. And it's just this play back and forth. And in that, Avner was saying, when you're on stage, sorry, I'm referring to him a lot because I just watched his conversation with you, and because I've worked with him over the years. But, this idea of eye contact, right? When we're in front of a big audience, often we can't really see the eyes. But in the classroom, in my classroom, we really make eye contact with the audience, and you feel what that feels like. We see the difference watching. You feel the difference on stage, and with your craft and your technique, you can then have that same feeling when you're in a big house with lights in your eyes. But it really develops the contact with the audience, that moment with your partner, the simplicity, how simple you can be and how interesting you are when you're just simple. I think it's brilliant for that. It also, it's a great exercise for guiding the audience where where the action is happening. The minor keeps their eyes on the major. The major doesn't look to the minor again until the end, till they've finished their little bit. And then we all look to the minor. So what did you think? And the minor goes, oh, what did I think? And you see the thought bubble over the head. It's a beautiful exercise. And I think whenever I teach people, I get anxious about it because it can be sort of slow and ponderous and we're really watching, but we learn so much through it and people love it. And then I also love taking those same principles into hat tricks. You know, I have a bunch of moves with a partner because I'm teaching a lot of physical comedy from the point of view of a clown. And it's about technique, but putting it into context, always doing it as the clown. So we learn some hat steals from each other, with each other, and a bunch of little duo hat moves, and then put them together in a sequence. And it's this happened. So what happens next? And you just add the next thing. And you play with that. Did that work? Yeah, that makes sense. Now what do you want to do? So you keep things going you keep making sense of it. For me, it's funny because now I am very, very linear, and I was trying to not be linear when I was working on that show because I thought there was something wrong with being linear. I wanted to be more interesting. But I realized
that's really interesting because I also think that there's something about being in a duo that can help to keep you simple because you know it just becomes like a little story, right? Between the two in real time.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on your own, there's this temptation to want to kind of be more conceptual or somehow, you know, to keep it simple is harder because we kind of get into this complex storytelling. So I'm interested, when you start working with people individually and objects, I'm kind of fascinated about, I mean, maybe this is actually also about your own creative process when you start making a show, or maybe it's about the exercises you do with people. But how do you get people to start to explore their relationship with an object and all the possibilities that might come out of a particular object? Because a lot of your work is very object focused.
The first thing that I like to do when we're playing with objects is play with them, do what Tony Montanaro would call rounds. And then when I was working with early on with Bob Berkey as a clown teacher, we would do prop rounds, and we just take one prop like a stick and use it as all kinds of different things and just play, get beyond the cliche, get beyond the first ideas, and keep inventing different things with it. And then take a few objects and play with those objects. How can they, if a stick becomes a bat and a hat or something can become a ball, or you put them together so that you're creating something. A string can become a snake, and a broom can become a flute, and it's anything can become anything, and you find relationships between them, and you find and you create little stories that way.
And for the clown, when you're working with objects, then, because for me there's something interesting about working with objects, which is that in object theater, often an object can become something else, and we kind of take the audience on a journey of, where we invest in the imaginative experience that this piece of string is a snake, right? And we play with it completely as though it were a snake, and we want people to imagine that it's a snake. And in clown, it seems to me there's a different kind of intention or something. When a string becomes a snake, it's sort of, I don't know, correct me or tell me how you see this, but is it that we're really trying to imagine it's a snake, or is it that the clown is somehow wanting it to be a snake, but it's actually not, it's always this piece of string?
Yeah, I think that is the case. As well, when we invest in it as a piece, as a snake, the audience will absolutely go with what we set up, as long as we stick to the rules that we set up. And then the clown can always have fun breaking that rule, but on purpose, to create another layer of I'm investing it in as a snake. I believe it's a snake, but I also know that I'm playing this game that it's a snake. So it's got both of those levels.
Yeah, and there's this wink with the audience, like we're in on it together.
We're in on it, but we don't let them see the wink most of the time.
Yeah,
you know, it takes that full commitment to it. The other thing I like to do with objects is, you know, when you're playing with an object, like in my musician piece, I have a music stand, which is such a very common prop. But I played with it a lot to find out all the things that I could do with it. And I also have handcuffs on, which get stuck on the music stand. I played a lot with these objects to find out what they could do. Excuse me.
I like the tape in the classically trained actress, right? Yeah.
And then you refine it down to the few things that really work the best. Davis puts it in terms of high impact and low impact. So you experiment, you play, and you can also play with the object having a personality, having a life of its own. But you play with it and you find a few things that really work, and then you put them in order of low impact to high impact, and your relationship to it, the context of the story that it's happening in. Because what we don't want to see is just, I mean, we love manipulation, we love circus acts, but with a clown, it's about the relationship to the object. It's about the context that it happens in. It's not about the tricks. It's funny in context, and it's you we're laughing at and your reaction to the situation that's going on. And we appreciate often the cleverness with the objects as well, but it really has to be about it within a context.
I love that. Hello, April. April's just joined, and some people are saying thank you, fantabulous help. So I'm not seeing many questions here from people, but I'm assuming that's just because all the answers are, all the questions are being asked already, and people are mesmerized.
How many people can you tell how many people are here?
There's 13 right now.
Oh, hello, 13.
It's kind of going up and down, and a lot of people watch it afterwards as well on the replay, because it stays on YouTube. If anyone doesn't know, by the way, it stays on my YouTube channel, and that's a really good reminder. Please, folks, if you're on my YouTube channel right now, which you probably are, could you please hit the subscribe button, because that really is wonderful. It builds my subscriptions, and eventually maybe YouTube will actually, you know, I don't know, pay me some advertising money or something. So Catfish says, I definitely have show idea, making fun of my pet peeves, not being able to decide, bring big box, put on audience, have them interact, wearing one, get them all together in the end. I'm not sure I follow, but it sounds amazing. Does that make more sense to you, Hilary, in your jet lag state?
Not really. I don't understand how the pet peeve is about a big box on an audience, but I bet April does. I mean, Deborah does. Hats, LOL. Not being moving. Well, it's hard to say. Oh, no. Like because I finished Goliath in 2020. Since then, well, yeah, finished with Deborah. It's hard. I'm not sure how to respond, because I'm not sure what you mean, Deborah.
Oh, hats, she says. She clarifies that.
One, interact with wearing one. Oh, get them all together in the end. So get somebody in the audience to wear a hat. It's a little hard to talk about in theory because it's hard to imagine what
often we have to see things, don't we?
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, I haven't been able to perform or be with other people. I practice as such. Oh, do you mean because of COVID?
I'm assuming that's what she means, because
Yeah,
it's just
possibly.
been impossible to get together and rehearse.
Yeah, yeah. I have a group of women that I play with every Wednesday night, and we Zoom together for about an hour and a half, and we just experiment with different things that we come up with, anything from, tongue twisters. Oh, what was last night's tongue twister? It was impossible. Peggy Bobcat. No, that wasn't it. Oh, I don't remember what it was. It was a name that was really impossible to say 3 times in a row. And just and you're trying your best to say it as well as you can, and your mouth is doing all these things, and the struggle to get it right is just beautiful.
Lovely.
I wish I could remember what it was.
And you were jet lagged as well.
And I was jet lagged. Yeah, it was funny, crazy.
I love stuff that involves that trips you up, that makes you spontaneously do failure, because then you sort of learn what that feels like to fail, and then you can recreate it. And recreating it is harder, I think, actually.
It is. Actually, I have a new piece, a classic, a lounge singer. And I was doing an opera singer lip syncing to Queen of the Night, who is 9 months pregnant and goes into labor. Her water breaks and she gives birth. It's a little bit problematic to do. It's fun. It's funny, but I've just never been quite satisfied. So this is a lounge singer who comes out to sing Fever. And I've got Peggy Lee, a Peggy Lee track playing, and I'm singing with her, and I've got a long red wig and glasses.
Oh, lovely.
This white dress. I mean, you wouldn't know it was me. And I don't know the words. And I'm just trying to sing along, and I just keep coming in at the wrong time. And I have a scroll with all the words written on it that I give somebody in the audience. I've only done it once in public. And this woman was trying her best to keep it, for me right, so that I could read the words. And oh my God, I had so much fun doing it. And I worked on this with Shannon Calcutt, who's a brilliant teacher.
Oh, yeah. Shannon is
Shannon said, Hilary, don't rehearse this piece. And I'm like, yay, I don't want to have to rehearse. Rehearsal. Somebody asked me if I have a daily practice, and I am doing it these days, except for this week. But it's funny because I don't know the words, and really I don't want to learn the words, because if I do, it is a lot harder to recreate it. Do I have a daily warm-up practice? I am trying. I'm exercising every morning and doing breath work, and starting now I'm going to be singing every morning as well, because I think we're doing the Last Rat in February. And
wow.
Yeah, I think at Springfield College. Cool. How does duality play into your work?
What do you mean by that, Emma? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what you mean, Emma.
Duality of what? Can you just clarify that? Because it sounds like an interesting topic. But duality, what do you have in mind? Was it something we were talking about that
I don't know.
To do with that?
Maybe it was about the idea of playing with props, where
you're
investing in the reality of making it, believing it's something, and then there's the other part that knows it's a game.
Yeah. And when you were talking about that, it was making me think about how you treat your objects in the classically trained actress piece. Because for me, I love the imaginary, but I also love the object as it is, and the problems that it, so I love to pick objects like that roll of tape is just so perfect, because there's so many, and the music stand, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, the music stand, they're real. My clothing, the problem with my clothing.
I mean, the heel, and it's such a beautiful, simple thing. And yet also, of course, it's so significant because of the gendered aspect of a heel.
Yeah. And the pearls and the hair comes out. Yeah. And they are very recognizable problems. You know, I love the story of Iman and tying her shoe. Of how
that Avner
she finally ties her shoe, and it's this, and it's done, but it's the extraordinary way of doing such a simple thing.
Well, that's the thing, though, Hilary. I mean, maybe the flourish of your. Do you have the ending figured out of your lounge singer piece? How do you? Is there a kind of a triumph at the end, like you get it, or are you still figuring it out?
I don't really have I don't have a triumphant ending yet. Yeah, I'm still searching for some little bits within it that I know I'll be able to do. At one point, I do take a drink, so you're not sure if she's just a little. She's had a little too much, and so maybe that's why she can't sing. But no, I don't have that ending yet.
Because that's where you might have to learn the words to be able to do it successfully somehow at the end.
I just have to know. I just have to know when the end of the song is coming, and
get the last word.
Yeah,
just the last word.
Yeah, so this is not a stupid question at all, Annette.
No, that's a good question.
She's asking, how did you get the heel to come off at a precise moment? The heel is actually, I had to saw it off the shoe, and then I have Velcro on it. So the trick is to walk on it without the heel coming off. At the beginning, when I come on, you can't know it's already off. And then at the moment, so I've learned how to walk very carefully and look like I'm walking normally. And then at the moment where I want it to fall, I just push my heel a little bit to the side and it comes right off.
So it's just an example of this part of the clown's craft, which is very little understood and talked about, which is that of the crafting the object to fall apart in just the right way at just the right moment. And there's a whole, there are people who make these beautifully constructed props and objects that are designed to fall apart.
500 Clown had this incredible set for their 500 Clown Macbeth, and the set did all kinds of crazy things. But in my musician piece, my handcuffs, first of all, the one that goes on, it can't come off. It has come off in the middle of performance, and so I put a piece of wire through it and twist it and make sure that thing is not going to come off my hand, because if it does, the gag is ruined. And also I have it glued, so there's just the tiniest bit of space so that it can hook on to something and it's not going to just slip off. And that took a lot of figuring and trial and error to make that work. And the lamp in A Life in Her Day, to have a frame on it, to get the lampshade off that becomes a dress, to not have it plugged in. It's with batteries and it lights up, and there's it's a lot of crafting of objects. Do you write your own shows? I've been used to finding things through improvisation. However, I know it's good to be precise. I have a lot of my work has been written by being in workshops. Excuse me. I'm a bit of a workshop junkie. I love being in class because I am not good at going into the studio alone. Some people are really good at that. They just make time and they do it. And I'm a little envious, but what I get is I get to go work with different teachers and play with different people and get inspired that way. And a lot of what I've come up with has come out of assignments. An idea. I mean, the musician came because the Bindlestiff Family Circus was doing shows someplace at the Palace of Variety in Manhattan. And somebody said, do you have a piece? We're going to do an evening of all women. No, we're going to do an evening of music where every piece has something to do with music. And I feel like I just got lucky in that moment. I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do a triangle player who's late for the concert because she's not dressed. And it developed. It developed in front of people in workshop. I did spend time, and I mean, of course, I have spent time alone working on all the little bits from the pieces, but I find that being in workshops, we're developing material is a great place because, you know, theater is collaborative, and it's one of the things I love about it. And it's why I'm really happy to be doing The Last Rat and another new piece that I haven't talked about called Bite Me.
Yeah, well, we're coming to the end, and I really want to hear about that. So maybe this is a good moment. Tell us about the new piece.
Bite Me is two women, C.B. Goodman from Austin, Texas, and myself being directed and creating the show together with Aitor Basauri of Spy Monkey. And
well, I really want to get on this Clown-versation.
Oh, yeah,
Aitor would be superb.
Terrific.
Yeah. So what's it all about?
So we're using the story of Snow White. We're using objects. We're using a lot of Barbie and Kens. This is something that CB has played a lot with green screen. We're playing, you know, ourselves and our size, and then we're playing with the green screen and these dolls.
So it's designed to be online on
no,
screen.
No, it's designed to be live. And that's why we really haven't worked on it now for 2 years. We were
but there'll be a green, like a live camera green screen.
That's right.
Projectors.
And it's about two women who are getting older and are, you know, we continue to battle against the idea of what a woman is, and we are strong, funny, idiot women who are.
Oh, that's a good. Is that the name of your company?
Strong. No, the show is called Bite Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good. Strong. What did I say? Strong something.
I can't remember. I'm gonna have to rewatch the recording. Strong, stupid, powerful, idiot women. Something like that.
Yeah, because we're all idiots. You know,
I love that.
We're nothing special. We're just admitting that we're idiots. And we've written some really wonderful pieces for that. We were supposed to have 3 weeks to finish creating it, and then 3 weeks of performance in Austin in 2019. So we don't know when we'll be able to pick up on it, but we'll see. I got lost with one word. Believe me, total brainstorm creature. Well, thank you, Catfish the Clown.
You're getting a stream of consciousness from Catfish there.
Yes. Strong, funny, idiot woman. That's what I said. And on my website, you can see a great picture of the two of us as Snow White and the Prince, and a nice little paragraph description about what the show will be one day. I love working with the two of them. They're both brilliant. And we all work so differently, and they're really intellectuals. I mean, Aitor went when he was in college, he was studying philosophy.
Oh, wow.
CB is just brilliantly intellectual, and that's different. Both of them are so different from me. I'm just amazed by them.
You haven't been tempted to teach online, I've noticed, Hilary, like so many people.
I did 2 very short, like 2.5 hour workshops online, and I was surprised at how well they went. I was really pleased with it, and I thought, this can happen. But I had a very busy first year after COVID. I took classes, which was great, so I could be creative.
Online.
But I was online, but I was busy with a lot of family issues. So
yeah, it's been really amazing, you know, hearing people like Avner and Angela De Castro, you know, who were initially skeptical and then have kind of gradually worked their way into, oh, this actually does work, and then now like, oh wow, I'm going to keep doing this because I have more people coming to me and fill up my workshops more easily.
Yeah. And people, the thing I love about it is that there are people all over the world who want to study and just can't afford to get there.
Yeah.
And this way I mean, before COVID, I heard about somebody teaching online. I'm like, really?
What? Clown, you can't do that.
Stop. But I took an acting class with my old acting teacher for a year. online, and it was amazing, the intimacy that we could find. The work was beautiful.
Yeah.
And working with Shannon Calcutt online and Pedro Fabayo, I had great experiences with both of them. So yeah.
Very cool. So Shannon sort of is directing stuff online, is she, or was it a workshop?
Oh, we did an in-person workshop at the Celebration Barn this summer. We were finally able to come together.
Yeah.
She is continuing to do online.
There's a few final comments before we kind of say goodbye to people. There's a question from I can't remember. Is it Ginevra?
Yes. I don't very much, but I do in A Life in Her Day. I use the audience. I use somebody from the audience as but I don't end up getting him up on stage. I hand him the ring in the audience to put it on my finger, and I get ready for the wedding, and then I realize, oh my God, he's already with somebody. So I don't bring him up.
But you have to improvise a little bit, because when you're dealing with somebody from the audience.
Yes, and it's fun. I play with them a little bit, and then I bring 4 people up from the audience to pick me up in the chair after the wedding ceremony. Right. The way Jews pick up, the bride and the groom, dance around with them, and so it's really fun to play with people from the audience a little bit. And totally. I would like to do another where I play more with audience members, but to date I have not that much. I used to with an old piece from my young clown days.
So Annette says, thank you, it's been so inspiring. Watched several of Hilary's YouTube women, loved imagining how the ideas came to be and the skillful craft of her doing it. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Very good way of summing up Hilary's work. And Annette also says, I danced with Kenneth King, a modern dancer who also started out as a philosophy major. He was so shy, socially awkward, and brilliant. Like so many of us.
Yeah. Oh, I was the shyest kid. I still get shy. I mean, I've forced myself out of it, and
for me, clowning was always about one part of it was always about, overcoming the shyness. It kind of gave me a way to connect with people that I couldn't in real life.
Yeah. I mean, one of the beauty of being a clown, my God, I mean, I worked in the hospitals for 24 years, and I'll be doing a little bit of it again. And the joy of being able to play with people, having the permission to play with people, it's amazing what people will allow you to do and embrace from you and enjoy, because I think everybody really wants that freedom to play, and we're not allowed to. But when there's a clown, there's permission. I mean, one of my favorite things I think I ever did was I picked up this grandma like this. And I said, okay, we've had enough of you. And she stood up and I threw her out of the room.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that with a dad, but I actually did it with a grandmother.
Yeah. Who else could do that but a clown?
I mean, David Shiner does it. You know, I think he inspired that in me. Because, if you watch David Shiner from a distance, it can look a little bit off-putting, and you think, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing that to somebody. But if you're up close and you see the complicity he has with the people he uses, they're going right along with him. He's got
permission.
He does. He does.
Well, Hilary, thank you so much for this Clown-versation. It's really been lovely, and we could just keep on talking all day.
Oh, it's so much fun to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And I would like to kind of come back around maybe next year sometime and have another conversation, and maybe even put you together with some of the other guests that I've had on, and we can do a little panel, something like that.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So
great.
Yeah. So good luck with the new show, and
thanks.
Keep on inspiring us clowns out there with your wonderful work. And And thanks everyone for joining. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe and keep on watching every week. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Jeff Johnson.
Yay!
Yay! Who is a lovely, wonderful clown. And I've got an amazing lineup for January as well, including Gabby Munoz.
Yay!
You know Gabby, don't you?
Yeah.
She's fabulous.
Yeah. Great.
And Naomi Silman and some other wonderful people. And we're just going to keep going.
Terrific.
So join us again next week. And thanks again, Hilary. And see you all very soon.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye.